Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Arduna. This is my mom, Gina.
He is a journalist.
She's the enthusiast.
I'm an enthusiast because there's some good stuff going on in the middle of summer. Plus, please note, my America, we just had the 4th of July.
Yes.
We actually he gave me the day off on the 4th of July, so we're back. But there's some really good summer sporting things going on right now.
Yes, there's a lot of things we want to talk about. We've got Wimbledon, we've got NBA news that we got to bring up. There's a lot going on. Even the MLB All-Star break getting ready to happen here as well.
And our Royals are killing it right now.
They are. They're doing very well as they had a slow start. And we got a couple Royals that are part of the AL team, the American League team, for the All-Star break. And so we're excited about that. Let's talk about the NBA so we can kind of get that rolling here. Or actually, let's talk about Wimbledon first.
Let's talk about anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about Wimbledon because that is, for the most part, the most relevant stuff going on right now. It is the second round is wrapping up, and we've got some people that are in the third round, specifically Venus Williams,
Yay!
who is really the main headliner for this tournament this year, with her sister being out. And we still have the big four as far as like the men on the men's side, with Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and Andy Murray. A couple of those guys are playing today. Djokovic and Murray are not Murray, but Djokovic and Federer are playing today, as Nadal and Murray played yesterday. And so that will be interesting to see who advances on. A lot of people are still calling Andy Murray for maybe getting to the finals. But right now, in my own opinion, I feel like Nadal and Federer, the way Nadal is playing right now, he's been injured the last couple seasons. And so I think he's really playing with a vengeance, and so it'll be good to see him.
And my bet on the person of that big four who will be out is Djokovic. He's ranked out of the top 3 for the first time in like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
He's only number 4. It's not like he's fallen too far down, but his game just hasn't been what it was. And I believe he's working with Andre Agassi.
Yes, he is.
So that's really cool. That's our guy, American.
Yeah, one of my favorite tennis players.
So we'll see if he gets his swag back, which would be the reason go work with Andre. He could do well. But like you said, Venus is still in. So with Americans, because none of those guys are American. Which Americans are still in?
Well, yeah, just as far as the men's side, Jack Sock is really the headliner. He's a young guy, 24 years old, a Blue Valley native. He went to Blue Valley North. He's one of the Kansas City guys. He's awesome.
Let's be clear, we live in that neighborhood.
Exactly. His high school is one of our crosstown rivals.
Exactly.
So we're happy for him. I hope that he can sustain his high level of play. He hasn't played that well at the Olympics. He was one of the main guys for the Olympic team. Got bounced out in the first round. It's not really his fault. It was a terrible situation as far as the conditions and things like that. But at the same time, I would like for him to actually start making some more pushes. He's kind of like a Jordan Spieth, if you will, for golf. He's one of these young guys, fresh on the circuit, has a lot of potential and talent, kind of like a Ricky Fowler. These guys are really good. They just haven't completely taken over.
They haven't crossed over yet, but his time is coming.
Yeah, Jack Sock, he's a good player. He's still in it, so we'll see what can happen there. I know John Isner was one of the other main guys as well. But as far as the headliners, it's Venus and Jack Sock for the Americans.
And who's out?
And then Donald Young just got bounced out. He played Nadal. He had a pretty good match. There's no shame in losing to Nadal.
No, there's no shame in losing
Rafa Nadal is playing at a very high level right now, and Donald Young is
I
one
feel
of
like
those
Donald
guys.
Young is potential. He and Madison Keys to me are
and Madison Keys as well. She lost yesterday. Donald Young and Madison Keys both lost yesterday. Hey, we'll see what happens. There's still the U.S. Open, and that will be huge there in New York.
Home turf,
exactly, Arthur Ashe Stadium. So we'll see what happens there. So we still got some people to be looking out for. So still be staying tuned and still be watching as well.
And it's 2 full weeks, so it gives you it's nice. You're getting the dog days of July, and it's kind of this nice, refreshing thing to watch.
Correct.
And even if you're not into it, here's how I tell people to watch Wimbledon: pick a player. Try to jump from the top 10. Pick a player and just kind of follow them as they go through, and it makes it more exciting.
Right, exactly. So Wimbledon, we'll be watching that closely, and hopefully Venus can continue on and keep winning.
Be awesome.
Right. Okay, well, let's talk about the NBA, as we just can't get away from it, which is fine.
We're not. It's gum on your shoe. Just make peace with it.
It is what it is.
You're going to have it.
Well, especially right now, especially because it is the off season, and there are so many trades and people going to different teams. And then the guys that just got drafted, or the D-League guys, or guys that have been in the league for a year or two, are full swing with the NBA Summer League season right now. And so there's constant highlights. There's always updates. And so we're going to talk about some of the big name guys that have either joined a new team or continued to stay with the team that they've already been with. And let's talk about the team that just won the championship.
Yes.
The Golden State Warriors, because you always wonder how a team is going to respond after winning a championship. It's so hard to repeat and continue to get there. We saw the Seattle Seahawks in the NFL struggle after losing that second one. The team has basically been fractured and frayed and separated, and so it's been really hard for them to maintain that same level. But for the Golden State Warriors,
been to 3 state championships and won 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
so.
they've been to 3 national or NBA championships, and 2 out of 3. And so they just re-signed Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston.
Goodness.
Those are 2 key integral parts to this NBA franchise.
Huge.
Now, it was really funny because Andre Iguodala was kind of toeing the line with some other teams, but at the end of the day, he was always going to be with the Warriors. He was just out there to see what else was out there.
You have to respect the fact that he's willing to say, listen, if someone wants to talk to me, I'll listen.
Of course.
You always have to listen.
Well, I know the T-Wolves were interested in him. The Milwaukee Bucks were interested in him. And then the San Antonio Spurs were really trying to make a push, because at the end of the day, these guys, the Warriors, as an organization, this is the #1 team in the world. The
100%.
#1 team. Even LeBron James said it.
Yeah.
They're the #1 team on this planet.
Yep.
And how they're run, how they're coached, how they play as a team, you don't want to go away from that. David West also re-signed for a
Mr. Muscles. But that's a really good keep.
It is.
And you know what I do love about when you call them a team is that, obviously KD joined them and he had this huge option. He opted out of his option to free up space to keep people he knew on the team that made a difference. So obviously they're going to re-sign KD. And our boy, a lot of people thought Steph Curry was an unrestricted free agent.
He was, exactly.
They got that locked down too. You didn't need to worry about that.
And it's not like Kevin Durant really needed the money or the max contract. I think it showed who he is as a person,
100%.
which is when you kind of think about the whole Oklahoma City situation, the only real bad thing that happened was how he handled leaving and telling Russ. Not so much about the organization, because they're notorious for really they're trying not to pay the luxury tax, which basically means once you get over a certain number, you have to pay extra taxes for the players that you bring in, and they're a small market team, so they really can't afford it like that. But when you're talking about trying to really make a move at a championship, you're going to have to pay for some of these players. And so that was kind of, to me, it really wasn't so much about the organization. He did so much for the community and for that team, staying with them from Seattle to Oklahoma City. It was just how he and Russ communicated on his departure.
Well, Russ got his MVP. Mr. Nankles got his ring.
Exactly.
Everything is good.
But it shows about KD, though.
It's all good. Now, I call KD Nankles because if you look at his legs from the knee to the ankle, it's nothing. It's just a nank.
Right, it is. It's just a nank.
From a player standpoint, integrity standpoint, we're huge KD.
Yeah, exactly.
Nankles is said with love.
Right, and so, exactly. So it was good for him to kind of let everyone, let the dust kind of settle and say, all right, then we can revisit. Another addition, though, that just took place for the Warriors that is very interesting. It's a very interesting pickup. They just picked up Swaggy P. Nick Young. The laundry list of things that he's done for the Lakers, not necessarily in a positive light, but in a off-the-court light, which is just makes you raise your eyebrows and shrug your shoulders like, what is he doing or what is he thinking? That's who he kind of is. Now, as far as a scorer on the basketball floor, he's one of the best. He's actually a really good scorer, good basketball player, but his antics, and it's not so much like, oh, he slapped a girl or pushed somebody down the stairs.
Thank goodness.
But it's one of those situations where you're like, what is going on there? It's just distraction. It's a sideshow. And the Warriors don't really seem like a team that would take that on.
That's why it seems odd to me, is that it's a group of warriors, but they're like gentlemen warriors.
Yes.
They're going to go cut your heart out, but they usually don't show their behind.
Right.
This guy, Swaggy P, Nick Young has been known for showing his behind.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't his fault that his boy D'Angelo Russell videotaped him when he was half asleep.
Right.
And he was bragging about cheating on his girlfriend. What's her name?
Iggy
Azalea.
Yeah.
Iggy, all that. But he was bragging about all his conquests and how he pulling the wool over her eyes and she doesn't know. Then his boy sent the video to someone else, and then, of course, it leaked. So that's not his fault.
Right.
But it just seemed like that whole first couple of years that they were all on the Lakers, it just seemed like childish.
It was.
It felt like preschool. They're just running around like a bunch of puppies.
The Lakers were in a terrible situation. There was no leadership. The organization was in a complete disarray.
He just wanted
Byron Scott was just trying to help Kobe at the end. There really wasn't any true leadership.
But it was just a bad look.
It was. It was kind of like.
And now you're bringing that to the Warriors locker room. I don't want any mess.
I agree, and I think if there's a team that can help kind of keep that under wraps, it is the Warriors.
Well, let's hope
and so he's not going to be a starter, that's for sure. He's going to be coming off the bench, having to earn his money.
It's not the bench I'm worried about. It's in the offseason.
No, I agree with that.
Swaggy P's video.
We'll see what happens. We will see. Well, last few minutes things that we want to talk about. Paul George is now with the Thunder for a one-year deal.
I'm going to OKC to see
CP3 is now with Houston. We talked about that. And Blake Griffin got his max contract with the Clippers. So that's awesome, and I'm glad for him, and we'll see what happens with those guys as well. And then again, the MLB All-Star break is getting ready to happen this next week.
Home Run Derby.
July 11th, we got Mike Moustakas and Jason Vargas and Salvador Perez. So we'll see what happens, and that should be fun. Yeah.
We'll give you some updates on that next week.
Exactly. Well, we want to say it's really hot out here, so we're going to
We have a lot to talk about. We've been off.
Yes. Happy 4th of July, folks. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Type in my name, Adam Orduna, and like our Facebook page. Type in OTD. We'll see you again, folks.